how do we? It seems almost you had a switch that was flipped. And you feel free to tell the story if you feel it's appropriate. But how do we flip that switch? Because I know personally, I'll go through a week or 2 weeks, and I'll be like right now, head down a bunch of projects. I'm out working anyone that I know within this space, both direct competition and then my friends who are entrepreneurs and salespeople and that as well. I'm doing way more than they not necessarily can, but what they can even comprehend. And it's not that I think I'm special. It's just I've set a deadline for Christmas of a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to look like a complete idiot if I don't finish it. So it's stressful. It's not like I'm doing it organically. It's not like it's just coming along. And I'm never sure whether that is the best way to be because the work gets done, but I'm not having a great time whilst I'm doing it, if that makes sense. And it seems like there's a magic place when you or when I interview super high performers, when I read books on people like Steve Jobs who are just so driven and so committed, and they perhaps shun a whole one part of their life to achieve these incredible things. But it seems like it's almost not flowing through them, but it seems like they're almost in a flow state, constantly going through it. And I don't get that. I have to put a load of stress on my head to kind of get in these high workflow, highly productive modes over weeks or months of time. So, Dwayne, when you kind of teed this up, you almost said it was like it appeared it was almost like a light bulb moment, and then it happened. Was that the case, or and if it is, how can we kind of implement this ourselves?
The night of that football game, I went with three very important people in my life. Now, they weren't then. They're now a big part of my business supporting me. And through all the stress of 9/11, they basically all pulled out their goals and gratitude cards. But I want to talk about in a minute. It's the concept of gratitude. And they were just talking about how, when something goes wrong with the economy or things like that, things are going to get a little rough. And if you're got your eyes on the prize and you're more focused than the person beside you, the odds of you going down as much are not as great. Even if the market stays flat, you might go up a bit. If it starts to go up, you go up even more. So I really had read about this. I had never really had a one-on-one conversation with people that had lived this way for a few years. And I just looked at them and I said, okay, they're doing better than I am. They're a little older than me. I might as well try this. Here's an actual physical roadmap. People are pulled it out in front of me. They swear by it. Might as well do it. So I had a little bit of blind faith jumping in. And on the personal leverage side, I just wrote down a couple of notes here if I could. There's three reasons why people, I think, don't do the goal setting thing. And it's fear, habits, and laziness. Well, those things also, for me, are major motivators. So I definitely am afraid of failure, or I don't like the idea of losing. I hate losing when I compete. So I use fear of failure, for lack of a better word, to work hard, dive deep, and do things when I don't feel like doing it. Habits to me are one of my strong points because I'm a very habitual person, but I've modeled my habits after what I want to do. So the great thing about habits is good habits are hard to break. So the more you do things over and over, habits and fear actually can become fantastic crutches and pillars in goal setting. And the third one is a lot of people don't set goals because they're a little bit lazy. Well, laziness to me is overcome when I start imagining my life getting a lot worse if I don't do these things, or imagine getting a lot better if I do. So I kind of create these two opposite visions of, all right, here's the direction I want to go with my physical health, with my debt, with my finances, with my business. And if I do this, it could get this much better. And if I don't do it, it could get this much worse. And I over-exaggerate both of those to really push me in a direction. And I keep those two things in my mind all the time. So fear, habits, and laziness can be tremendous motivators.
What does it look like when you are getting particularly if I project myself 10 years into the future and I'm at the same place or I've gone backwards, that's a huge motivator for me. How does that look like how do you sit in a chair and think and meditate on this and then go, oh shit, I better get my finger out, get some work done today? Or is this something you do quarterly? Is this something that you're always thinking about of, holy heck, I'm wasting opportunity here? How does that manifest itself for you?
I was lucky to be around family members and friends when I was younger that their lives didn't end up the way that it wanted to. All great people. I love them. I didn't have a terrible childhood. It was nothing like that. My parents were great. They were good people, but none of my friends or family really were living the life that I thought I wanted to live. So there's two things that I do there. I remember people, and I also look at people around me that are what I call lessons. You're either a lesson or example. And there's a lot of people that I see that do things over time where things get worse. And I just go, hey, listen, if I do those things, it's going to get worse for me too. So I use some people that maybe aren't in the position I want to be in as motivators on what to avoid. I call those anti-heroes. And then I also have a bunch of heroes, people that I look up to, people that maybe haven't even met, but I've read about. And I move towards what those heroes are doing and how they act and how they believe and value things and what they do. So I have these The anti-heroes. I have the heroes. These are kind of what I'm trying to move towards, what I'm trying to move away from. And my third one, I call it be a hero. I specifically pick people within my company and my friends and family. They don't know who they are. They don't know I'm doing it. But I try to raise my bar and with my children and stuff so that one day maybe one of these people are going to say in their mind or to somebody else out loud, I don't need any credit for it, man, I'm ever glad Dwayne came into my life. I'm ever glad Dwayne was here during those years because he really kind of elevated my expectations through watching what he was doing. So being a hero, getting some heroes, getting some anti-heroes. At the end of the day, it's all psychology. It's all a freaking mind game. So if you don't play the mind game to win, you might follow the mind game society or the newspaper has for you, and that's not a mind game that I want to partake in most of the time. So it's really just an inner game. And the more you understand the inner game, the more you study it, the more you read it, and then the more you live it, you really find out how connected the inner world and the outer world is. I know it sounds a little Zen or Buddhist or, I don't know, woo-woo, but the inner world is completely what ends up happening in your outer world. It's just a total reflection of who you are.